I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about fractions, but instead of talking about just any fractions, I'm going to just talk about the ones used on a tape measure. Fractions like 1/29th won't show up on a tape measure. And really difficult fractions like 37/298 definitely won't show up. What will show up are halves, fourths, eighths, and sixteenths. So these are the fractions I'll talk about. Working with fractions tends to cause my students a lot of anxiety and frustration and sometimes even anger. I'm going to try to explain this in a way that avoids all that, but remember, it's okay if you don't understand right away or you get frustrated. You can back up and review parts of this lesson, ask someone for help, or look for explanations elsewhere. Imagine that I have a metal bar and I want to paint half of it red. First, I mark it into two separate parts, the part I'm going to paint and the part I'm not. Then I paint half the bar. Now I'm going to write the fraction that represents the part of the bar that I painted. I start by writing a line that will separate the top and bottom of the fraction. Before I started to paint, I marked the bar into two pieces. On the bottom of the fraction, I write the number of equal-sized pieces I marked the metal bar into. I painted one of the two sections, so on the top of the fraction I write how many sections I painted. Now let's go back to my original unpainted bar, and let's say this time I want to paint 1/4 of the bar red. First I'll mark the bar into 4 equal sections, just so I can see all 4 sections, even though I really only need to mark one of these for painting. Now I paint one of the sections. To write the fraction for what part of the bar I painted, on the bottom I write the number of equal pieces I marked the bar into. And on the top I write the number of those pieces that I painted. I'll bet you can see that if I had wanted to paint 3/4 of the bar, I would still mark it into 4 pieces. And then I'd paint 3 of them. I still marked it into 4 pieces. And this time I painted 3 pieces, so I painted 3/4 or 3/4 of the bar. I want to quickly point out something that's important. Here are 2 of the same bars, one marked into 2 sections and one marked into 4. On the top one I paint half the bar. On the bottom one I paint 2/4 of the bar. Notice how I've really painted the same amount of each bar. That tells us that 1/2 and 2/4 are really the same fraction. Keep this in mind for later. Now back to my original unpainted bar, and this time I want to paint 1/8 of the bar blue. First I'll mark the bar into 8 equal sections, and now I paint one of the sections blue. I marked the bar into 8 pieces, and painted one of them blue, so I painted 1/8 of the bar blue. Then what if I did this? Now I've painted 3/8 of the bar blue. If I want to paint 9/16 of my original bar blue, I'd mark it into 16 equal sections. And then I'd paint 9 of them. Out of the 16 sections I marked out on my bar, I painted 9 of them blue, so I painted 9/16 of my metal bar blue. I hope you're feeling a little more comfortable now with the kinds of fractions you might see on a tape measure.